My topic was curriculum issues, and I just decided to do how that relates to child development. First of all, what is curriculum? Curriculum is what exactly will be studied throughout school. It can be altered to fit individual needs, relate to certain subjects, to support standardized tests, and more. Is important because it helps keep teachers and education organized. Curriculum helps to create shared goals and to define student progress. And some examples of curriculum would be the teacher's lesson plan, standards, goals, and materials. Some schools promote a curriculum with certain personal goals like increasing acknowledgement of self-worth or just random things like that. Okay. So some curriculum issues, or like issues that have to do with curriculum in regards to child development would be that there's 8 or more different learning styles. So it's hard to create curriculum that really can address all of those different learning styles. And typically curriculum is kind of approached as more individual and one size fits all, which doesn't work in a classroom setting, at least not for every single child. Curriculum needs to be age appropriate and involve the students, which sometimes isn't done, and that creates issues. And there can be issues when there's a curriculum change and a child has been used to that curriculum, or it could kind of mess up their progress and how they're doing in school. And then some additional issues is that typically in school, curriculum is kind of approached with more of an assessment or like traditional type approach, I guess, when it should be approached more with play and movement, as long as it has adult support and guidance, because they are children and they need to be moving around and playing. So when you have traditional curriculum, it erases the importance of movement, play, and discovery, which are all really, really vital to child development. So one of the quotes that I found from an article I read said that researchers, independent of their philosophical orientation, seem to agree that including play in early childhood curriculum is a necessary condition for ensuring optimal growth and development of young children. So keeping those last 2 slides in mind, what type of curriculum benefits children? The curriculum needs to be flexible depending on the student. It needs to be able to address the group as a whole and individually, and their individual needs and what their learning style might be. The children need to be able to create within the curriculum. It needs to be engaging and, like I said, individual to them. It needs to be really interactive, including with movement and play. The curriculum needs to support their skills and behaviors and even their interests and things that they want to learn about. And then curriculum needs to relate to pedagogy or educational and behavioral theorists like beliefs. Like one of the ones we learned about was like, I can't even remember. It was from one of the Dear Abby letters, and then the second quote says, it's from the Child Encyclopedia on Early Childhood Development, and it states that curriculum that keeps students active and engaged, has clear and shared goals, implements frequent teacher and child interaction, and builds on prior knowledge and experience, and is comprehensive, is the best or most effective curricular model. So to fix these issues that we have in curriculum and to kind of make it better, this is a list of the things that we should include in our curriculum and try to aim for. And those are my references. So let's see. Thank you.
Okay, I can go next. Okay, so I was focusing on charter schools, and before I started like researching this, I really didn't know anything about charter schools other than the fact that like My parents are super against them. And so I've kind of grown up with like the debate of charter schools are bad. But after doing this research, there are lots of benefits that children can experience through attending charter schools. So what is a charter school? A charter school is a public school that is funded by the public or by private donors. And they must follow education laws, but they are exempt from some of those laws. And then this chart just shows the increase of schools, like specifically charter schools throughout the years. We've seen a significant increase in charter schools and the support behind them in recent years. And then I have a video explaining it better.
A charter school has the ability to be more flexible, it's more agile, it's faster on its feet in terms of being responsive to the needs of students, to the needs of teachers, to the needs of the family, to the needs of the community. It can move and it can change.
Families need choices. They can choose to apply to a bilingual school, they can choose to apply to a science-focused school, a math-focused school, or STEM program.
I really like the school because it gives us things that we really didn't get in our other schools.
You hear students talking about their future in college, through college, and with a college degree.
When I grow up, I want to be a school teacher.
I might be a lawyer and a president.
And that's the beauty of charter. It's having those higher expectations. I'm getting back to the root of why I teach.
We don't give up. Whether you will get it the first time, or in a small group, or one-on-one. It's our responsibility to make sure that you will get it.
You have to figure it out, and they're going to help you figure it out so you get it. It's 100% of the time.
Now I see people saying, "Oh, I'd love to get in that school. You know where I can get in there?" I said, "Just line up and put your name down."
Our students are going to be college bound. They have options. Definitely about possibilities and not limits.
So there are quite a few perks that can come from attending charter schools. One thing that they're known for is letting the parents of their students have more of a voice. While I was doing research, I found a quote from someone named Amachi. She was a 5th grade teacher at a charter school, and she talked about how she, like most other charter school teachers, visit the homes of students who will be attending their class next year. So instead of just meeting students on the first day of school or at back to school night, they focus on, it's more of like a child-centered education. And Amachi says it's powerful. You sit in the family's living room, and from that moment, you have a connection because they've had you in their home. They trusted me in a way I don't think they would have if we just met at back to school night. And then according to the Center for Education Reform, charter schools outperformed their traditional public school peers on state exams in 65 out of 77 comparisons. So grades and standardized testing are affected by most charter schools. And the graduation rate from charter schools is 7 to 11% higher than normal public schools. And studies show that there are really no negative effects of charter schools. Some of them are kind of just like stagnant, like there's no improvement compared to their counterpart normal public schools, but for most of them, there is more of a positive effect. With charter schools, they pride themselves in letting their teachers as well as their students learn. So it's kind of like a culture where everyone is supposed to learn from. Recent research from the Center for Education Reform states that, oh, this is the next slide, sorry. The only catch that I was able to find that was negative about charter schools was that the Center for the Education Reform states that 12% of all charter school openings have been closed, and 2 out of 3 of those closures are from lack of finances and bad management. So overall, it just depends on the student and the parent and what they want to choose for their educational future. A lot of students do benefit from charter schools, but there are definitely some that would benefit more from public schools. And doing the research is an important part of making those decisions. Those are my references.
Awesome. I'll go next. Okay. Oh, there you go.
Did she freeze? I don't know.
I tried to, oh, it said I had to like give permission to Zoom. Can you see my screen?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I did my research project on what are statewide assessments and their impact on student learning. So my first slide is on what are statewide assessments. And according to this article that I found on the Educational Commission of States.org, statewide assessments are an annual testing that all students have to participate in subjects like mathematics, science, and the English language. Students get an annual test of this to compare and contrast different schools. It's a means of ensuring that each school across America is equally equipped to teach the students, and that students are all getting an equal platform to be able to learn and grow. These assessments are required because of the Student Succeeds Act and conditional for receiving more federal funds. These assessments are compared between 50 states, and they are summative assessments. Many states actually require statewide assessments in social studies or a college entrance readiness exam, or even physical fitness. They will test you on. And this is an image that I got off the California Alternate Assessment web page, and it basically shows the different tests that are given and what grade levels, and this is just for the state of California. So there is a difference between formative and summative assessments that are given to students, and this is a video that is going to explain that. Okay. Wait, can you guys hear the video? Hello? Can you guys? Hello?
No, we can't hear it.
Oh, dang it. Okay. I'll just kind of sum up what he was talking about then. So basically, he was talking about the difference between a formative and a summative assessment. In these statewide assessments, what is being done is a summative assessment. It's a very formal exam that kind of quizzes the progress and measures the progress of students on varied states, whereas more informal exams, like an oral exam or a teacher asking if you have any questions, is more of like a formative exam or a formative assessment where they're seeing how well you're learning it. And so the problem with assessments is it doesn't really show how long it took the student to learn that information. It just shows what the student knows already. And so there's a kind of a con there because it's really hard to find beneficial ways to change the educational system when we're not really seeing the ways that students are being taught. And later in the video, he kind of talks about the different ways that students learn, different kind of learners. You can be like a cognitive learner, kinesthetic, and that should be the emphasis of exams and assessments, is seeing how the educational system can better be prepared to teach children based on their individual needs. My next slide, I'm going to be going into statewide assessments and special needs children. This is another con for statewide assessments, is historically it really excludes kids who have disabilities. Up until recently, up until Section 504 was passed, students that had mental disabilities, autism, extreme forms of ADD and ADHD were not allowed to participate in these statewide assessments, which was really contradictory because they were kind of not allowing their work and their progress to be mixed in the greater assessment. And because of that, there has been very little change in progression to include children with disabilities in schools. But recently, their attendance in these statewide assessments have been required, excuse me, with accommodations. These accommodations include timing of the test. So typically the tests and assessments are timed, but students who have autism or different forms of disabilities are given extended times. They're given breaks. They can stand up and walk around if they need to. They can take it in whatever time of day is best for them. Sorry, I like swallowed dust. The setting of the test, they can either do it by themselves in a small room or in a group, wherever it would be most comfortable for them to take the test, because most kids with disabilities oftentimes feel more comfortable taking tests either by themselves or with other people. And then also sign language, Braille, kids who have different reading problems, they can be read to, and they can be given help with that, understanding the question. That way they know that they understand the question correctly. And then they can also, if they have dyslexia, they can dictate to say exactly what they want written to an adult. Sorry. And here are my citations. Thank you.